Hi, that's me, Tani. Just roll with me on this one and I'll explain what's happening in a bit.
Rachel? This is Simon Hewitt here. I'm so happy you picked up the phone. How are you? Is this a bad moment? I'm on tour with the Queensland Youth Symphony at the moment. We performed in the Music Variety in Vienna 2 nights ago and in the Mozarteum yesterday. But our tour is grinding to a halt as a result of some pretty disastrous tour management decisions that were made 6 months ago, 10 months ago, that I have been unaware of until the catastrophical logistical challenges that are kind of now throwing up in front of our faces. And this is a crazy question, and I have no idea what's possible and what's not. I guess what I'm looking for is someone like Harvey Keitel in the Pulp Fiction movie who can kind of swing in and say, Simon, this is what you need, this, and this, and this, and this. Do people like that exist? That's you.
I have a story, and if I share it with you, it might just change lives. It's complex, nuanced, and it's not actually my story, but if I don't share it, then the world will never know how 91 young musicians from Queensland did something that had never been done before.
There's a beautiful poem that I was introduced to by my English teacher when I was in high school. For me, it sums up the beauty of the youth orchestra experience. That sense of innocence, but the beauty of a memory of discovery and of presence and of wonder that he wants in a way to reconnect to. It's almost like when you're in that experience, you don't quite realize how precious it is until you're older and wish you were young again.
I'm a perpetual optimist, and I think that the things that go wrong, as long as nobody dies, if it makes for a good story later, how bad was it? You know, instruments got broken, things didn't go smoothly, but those are all problems that are solvable. And in 15 years' time, we'll be able to say, oh my God, do you remember that QYO tour where they'd left the instruments in an uninsulated truck and cellos broke and we were late to the concert and all sorts of things went wrong? It will make for an excellent story later.
This story needs to be handled with care because people got hurt, some got injured, most endured physical and emotional discomfort, and almost all lost a lot of sleep.
When you're traveling with a 90-person orchestra, it's not exactly simple or practical.
Getting a good night's sleep has not been easy.
Lots of people snore.
Well, a lot of the beds, way too small.
Everyone's getting really exhausted and a little bit cranky.
But between these hardships, there were moments of artistic brilliance, joy, and deep connection.
When it got to its lowest point, we all sort of helped each other out.
And I think throughout all of that, we've really pulled together as a group.
We really had this team building experience and we went through it together and still got on stage and kicked ass. It was still awesome to play so beautifully as an orchestra despite everything going on outside of that.
So the world needs to know that the young musicians of the Queensland Youth Symphony achieved something that no Australian symphony orchestra ever has, and they did so with unmistakable Aussie grit.
I must say the opportunity to see Europe through the musical lens, that's a good sentence, eh?
The reason why people enjoy watching youth orchestras play generally is because they're full of the passion and sprite that young musicians have. So we should be showing it off.
This story is so big that I don't know where to start. What I can tell you is that it's miraculous that this tour happened at all. There was a collision of old and new when QYO's artistic director of 50 years was succeeded in 2019. There was a gap between the expectations of the ambitious new director, an internationally acclaimed conductor, and the capacity of QYO's cautious, stable, long-term management. QYS had toured internationally before, but the scope of the 2023 tour was entirely unprecedented. Over 3 weeks, 91 musicians, 31 of which were under 18, a couple of staff and a few volunteers would travel through Singapore, Austria, and Germany to perform 8 concerts of demanding classical repertoire in the middle of the European winter. The only thing more remarkable than the tour itself is the fact that I was there with a camera to capture the moments as they happened. Set against the backdrop of historic concert halls, life-transforming moments unfolded for young Queensland musicians. I'm sitting on a treasure trove, full-length concerts in world-famous venues, compounding logistical dramas, and candid backstage moments that reveal the youthful spirit at the heart of this orchestra. This is classical music like you've never seen it before.
Change it up. And you can go into triplets. Like any tour, there's a few hiccups. I think we've had a few more hiccups than would be normal, I guess.
That was my question. So you can't come into the city at all? Yeah. So I'll have to...
I was in the car park with a child under one arm and the car keys in the other and the phone in my ear and thinking, who's Australia? Who's calling me from Australia? And it was Simon on the phone. What came through for me the most was his desperation to make sure that this tour was successful for the musicians, for these young people who've flown halfway across the world to have the experience of a lifetime performing with this orchestra, and also how to bring in some help that will support the other people here on the tour who have obviously been working incredibly hard to put everything together and keep everything going, but who were obviously, you know, at the limits of what they were able to physically and mentally manage, and that it was very clear that they needed some more support.
So the only problem I can see today is getting all of those 2 trucks instruments into one big truck with you, me, Jeff, David and Deb.
We're in Berlin right now. It's not snowing, but it has been snowing. It's about 1 or 2 degrees, and the instruments are obviously very, very sensitive to temperature, particularly big changes in temperature. And so the instruments were suffering because they were coming from a warm concert hall into a cold truck.
Every single day they slip, and it's just really annoying. That's okay. It's a good patience exercise.
Well, this is a complicated tour, isn't it? I mean, I haven't done many international tours. You know, I'm not that famous.
The orchestra is due to travel to Bamberg tomorrow. Our truck is too small. It's not climate controlled. We've already had instruments damaged.
The contrabassoon is actually cracked.
But the main issue is transportation between concerts, catering, and just making sure that we can get the kids safely from. Rachel, if I would be forever in your debt.
But I'm way ahead of myself. If I'm going to bring audiences on this journey, then I'm going to need to give lots of context, and context takes time, and time is expensive. I am reaching out for help so that I can tell this story with the same commitment that was on display when QYS became the first Australian symphony orchestra in history to perform at the acclaimed Musikverein in Vienna.
Been told that it was almost full. I didn't realize it was that almost full. So that was wild. It was, I just got a huge burst of adrenaline, and I was incredibly nervous before walking on stage. But then when I got out there, it was just, oh wow, this is real. Okay, you've got a job. Go, do it. Do the job. That was a buzz. That was terrifying. That was amazing. It was full. The hall was full.
If we tell this story well, there's a good chance we will finally bring Queensland Youth Orchestras the renown it deserves. If we showcase the passion and humanity of these young musicians, we might change the way mainstream Australian audiences think about classical music. If we can remind the world about the transformative power of being part of something bigger, we might inspire a new generation of Australian orchestral musicians.
The more that we can invest in young people understanding the power of communal experience, the power of coming together to create something, the more we can give that to young people, the more hope we have for the world. And if you've got a conductor who understands that and will do that and is working for that, don't let him go.
You don't realise when you're young at your sky blue trades that time allows in his tuneful turnings so few and such morning songs before the children green and golden follow him out of grace, before you grow old, before you are no longer a young person. But that's the beauty of the experience. If we all stay the same age forever, that youth experience wouldn't have any meaning at all.
This story might be the spark that ignites someone's passion and opens them to the world of music.